Hey guys, Mike with Nerd Problems Gaming here, the channel where we go through the good and bad of everything nerdy to make sure you spend your time on the best of the best. In today's video, I'll be doing a review and how to play video on the trading card deck building game Dinn. So let's get into it. So the cool thing about Dinn is that it's a kind of a lot of genres thrown into one. So you've got the deck building game, you've got the trading card game aspect, but it also has an artificial reality game mixed into it as well, which is kind of cool. And so this aspect I've never really seen in a game. And so what this means is that in addition to the deck building game and trading card aspect, on the cards, there's actually hidden puzzles within each card. And so there's an alternate reality storyline going on that you can look up more on the site and learn about. And the first chapter or season 1 has to do with the disappearance of Natalie Neal. And so you can actually learn more about the background of this mystery of characters that have to do with the game. And on top of that, there's a extra mystery puzzle game element to the game as well. And so on each one of the cards, there's little puzzles and website URLs at the bottom for the most part. And so each card is just another small piece of the puzzle. And so it might have to do with the artwork on the card. It might be the name of the card, the description, all kinds of different things play a factor in the puzzles on the cards. And so if you think you've solved the puzzle and you find the URL, and if you're the first person, you can actually go to the URL, enter your information, and then the company rewards you with various different things from promo cards and more. And so it's a really cool concept that I've never really seen within a game before. And so if you like puzzle games, that's another cool element to this trading card game as well. But let's dive into how you play the game so you have a little bit better understanding on the deck builder game aspect. And then I'll jump into my full review after that. All right, now that we got the game out, let's walk you through how to play Dinn. And so one thing that's really cool is this game is actually very easy to learn, and it's also incredibly fast to play. So when playing Dinn, the objective of the game is to shatter all 3 hearts of the opposing player in order to win the game. So when you start off, you'll just take one of the decks that you have or have purchased for the game. So in this case, we've got the Sentient deck and the Beast deck that we're playing with. You'll take the cards out from each deck, and then you'll set out the 3 hearts from each deck as well. To start the game, you will deal out 8 cards to each player. And now on the first turn, what you'll do is that you'll choose a hero to play from your hand. And so certain heroes have certain number of hearts that are associated with them. They also have abilities that might activate when you play the hero. There's also equipment cards and then action cards that you'll draw as well. One thing to understand is if you play a hero with a specific number of hearts, if you're defeated in this round, you will then lose that number of hearts. So it might be more powerful to play a hero with more hearts, but it also might be more risky in case you lose, where you technically could lose the game in the first round. So in this case, let's say I play the Kraken, so I would put this face down. We'll then be playing as the other player here as well, for example. So let's say I take this one, that's 6, and I'll put this face down. Now at this point, both players will simultaneously reveal their hero cards. And then the hero that has the higher number will take the first action. So in this case, this hero would act, and then this hero would follow up from that. Now the next part of the round is each player can play another equipment card or an action card, or they can also pass their turn. If you do pass, the other player that may have already played a card or is still deciding has the opportunity to take that card back or play a different card knowing that the player passed, so they might want to play something different. But let's say, for example, we use this equipment card. I'll put this face down with this player. Let's say I use this equipment card here, so I'll put this face down. So now both players will reveal their card. So in this case, the Kraken gets +2 for their total points. This player gets +3 based on what the card says. And then we'll move on to the final phase of this round. And so again, the goal is to have a higher total number for your hero and the action or equipment cards added together. And the hero with the highest point value wins the round and defeats the other player. So in this case, for example, I'm at 7. So let's say I go to 2 more. Let's try and get the higher number. This one's at 9 right now. Let's say I'll use this one for +3. We'll then reveal the cards at this point and we'll add up the total. So in this case, we've got 5 plus 2 plus 2. So we've got 9 on this side. And then on this side, we've got 6 plus 3 plus 3. So we're at 12 total. So in this case, this player ended up losing and they need to discard their hand and then lose the 2 hearts because the Kraken had 2 hearts. Now, one thing to notice as well is that when you're playing cards as action cards or equipment cards, equipping the characters, in order to do that, they must match the symbol on your hero card. So in this case, both items did have the matching symbol associated on the Kraken card, so I was able to play them. Same thing with this player. All the symbols that are located on your hero card must match up with the symbols that are associated with the action or equipment card that you play. If you don't have the associated symbol or a card has a different symbol, like this card for example, my Kraken hero does not have this symbol on it, I would not be able to play this card as an action with the Kraken hero. So something to pay attention to as you play. So at this point, the round went to the red player. So the hearts are discarded and then these cards are discarded. At this point, each player is going to draw 2 cards. So we'll do 1, 2, 1, 2, and then we'll move on to the next round and it follows the same thing at this point. So I need to lay a hero from my hand. And so I actually can't lay this one down because I need to shatter 2 hearts. So unfortunately, it would seem like I would lose at this point since the only hero I have, and I have to lose 2 hearts when I play, and so I would die. So not the best hand outcome with this game, but that's sometimes how the game goes, where it's a very fast game that only takes maybe 10 to 15 minutes each play session. Now, let's say, for example, I did not have a hero in my hand. What I would do at that point is I would shuffle these cards back into my deck and redraw that many cards. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards, let's say at this point. I would then put the 6 cards back, reshuffle the deck, and then draw out 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So then I would hopefully have drawn a hero at this point. So looks like I've got a great white shark as a hero. So I could play this time face down. Looking at the other player, same thing. We've got a 5 here. So I could throw that down. And then both players again would simultaneously reveal, follow the associated actions listed on the card, if any take effect right now. And then we would move on to the next phase of playing down an action or equipment card. So again, I wouldn't be able to use this card, for example, because the white shark symbols did not match. So I'd have to find something that would work. So I might use this card, for example, or this one would work. This is a hero, so I couldn't use that. This is a hero, so I couldn't use that. So I could decide to pass if I wanted to, accepting defeat with this round, or play cards with my hand to try and win. But overall, that's really how you play Dinn. It's not super difficult. There's some more detailed rules on the website that you can check out for specific scenarios, but when it comes to actions or equipment or even abilities on the hero, they're pretty self-explanatory, but feel free to drop a comment below if you do have questions. But now that you have a better understanding on how to play the game, let's jump into my review and how I feel about Dinn. All right, guys, so now that you know more on how to actually play the game, what do I feel about it? Well, for me, I really enjoyed this game. My girlfriend and I picked it up, decided to play a couple games, and ended up playing for a couple hours because it was super addicting to play. The game itself is incredibly simple to learn, as you saw in the how to play section of this video. But on top of that, while it is easy to learn, there is a very deep strategy to the game. And so one thing that I really liked is that as I played, it started off where I was just kind of picking cards and playing them, wasn't really thinking a whole lot about it. But then as I played game after game, I started to really unravel the depth of the strategy that goes into the game. So I was setting myself up for future turns and future rounds, planning out my equipment and cards. Once I understood more of what was in my deck, it really altered the play style I was using to take advantage of it and get the best results as I played. And so it was a really cool concept. On top of that, each deck really had its own kind of unique strategy to it, and strengths and weaknesses. And for example, it's kind of King Arthur themed. So you're finding Knights of the Round Table within your deck. You're also finding famous equipment like Merlin's staff and Excalibur, different things like that. And so this deck relied on using this equipment to really power up your characters and setting yourself up for victory in that way. And the Beast deck really focused on classic beasts within mythology. So you've got the Kraken, you've got Leviathan, you've got the Phoenix, all these different classic monsters and beasts. And this deck was pretty neat in the sense that you played in a way where you would sometimes either intentionally sacrifice your characters, or if you did happen to lose a round, it would actually power up some of your characters even more. And so it was kind of a cool play style to use. And I felt both were really fun and really required totally different strategies in order to win, depending on what deck you were using. And so like I said, it was very simple to learn, but the complexity of the strategy really evolved continually as you played, which again made it really addicting. Plus the game itself usually only took maybe 10 or 15 minutes of play time. So we constantly found ourselves finishing a game and just diving into another game back to back. Again, kind of the unique play style that you saw in the how to play section is that you can actually lose the game or win the game in the very first round that you play. And typically you're looking at maybe 3 to 4 rounds max as you play the game. So again, it doesn't take very long to get through a single play session, which is really nice because again, it allows you to play the game again, try a new strategy, which makes it extra addicting. Another thing that I like is that the game has really cool artwork on the cards. And so it's really detailed, kind of a cartoon anime-esque style to it, but really professionally done. And I really like what they did in the artwork of the game as well. So if you're looking for just kind of like a trading card aspect of the game, they're definitely fun to collect and look at. Now the game is just kind of getting started, so there's only a couple of starter decks available right now that you can pick up and play. There's also a booster pack available for chapter 1 that you can get. But with that being said, since it is kind of a brand new game, some of these cards in this first chapter you aren't actually able to use at this point if you're using them for playing the actual game. And so if you remember from the how to play video, each of your hero cards is going to have specific abilities, and you really need those abilities on that hero card in order to use some of the card. And so with these expansion booster packs, for example, they have some abilities that aren't necessarily available in your initial starter decks. So you won't really be able to use these cards until future decks come out within the game. So not a bad thing. Obviously they're preparing for expansion, but you might be a little bit disappointed if you're just getting started and you aren't able to use all the cards in the gameplay. But the artwork is still awesome. There are a handful of cards in this first booster pack that you can use in the game to switch up your deck if you want, so that's cool. Also, something that's really neat is that yes, it does come with starter decks, but you do have the ability to create your own deck. And so again, right now, since the game is pretty new, you won't necessarily be able to do that, but they are releasing future decks and more packs coming soon. So as you build up more cards, they have specific rules on how you structure your deck, how you build them. So that's really cool to give you the ability to really customize your decks as you play. And it kind of reminded me of like Magic the Gathering in a sense, where you could build out your own custom decks, kind of combine them, the different types of cards, like from the Beast deck or some from the packs and future decks coming out. So that was really cool. And I think it's really set up well as the game expands and grows and they release more cards and more starter decks for the game. Now, like I said, the game does have that artificial reality mystery puzzle element to the game as well. And so that's really cool. I personally didn't necessarily get into that as much, but I think the main reason for that is that since the game has been out a little bit at this point, when you go to the website, you'll see that all of these mysteries have been solved already. So you can go and dive in and learn the story behind the game, behind the mystery, and that's great. But if you kind of want to go into the puzzle aspect right now, it's been solved by other players. That doesn't mean you can't necessarily solve it still on your own and then see if you were right when you discover the puzzles and the secrets within the cards, but it doesn't really give you the opportunity to be the first one right now to get that extra stuff that the company promotes. But again, like I said, they're going to be releasing more decks, more cards soon, so it's really just a matter of time until more puzzles and mysteries and more aspects of the story are available for you to solve and unravel. So I think if you're into that kind of thing, you'll really like that. And they're constantly adding content to the game and to the community that you're able to tap into. But for me personally, I was just more so focused on the deck building game. That's my favorite part of the game. It's super addicting. It's a lot of fun. It's simple to play and learn. Plus it's fast. And so I think it's a lot of fun and worth picking up this game if you're into deck builders. Now for me, I got the starter package, which came with 2 starter decks, but also this really cool play mat. And it was a really high quality play mat. It makes playing the game really easy. And so I think if you're looking to get into this game, that's probably a great place to start. You save some money by getting the bundle and then also get this really high quality play mat, which makes the game really easy to play and learn as well. Especially if you're planning to get future cards and future decks that come out, I think this is probably a must-have as you play. But overall, guys, I had a lot of fun playing Dinn. I think it's a really cool and addicting deck builder game. Plus the whole artificial reality puzzle aspect to the game is really cool and unique as well. But let me know in the comments below, have you ever played a game like that where it has that artificial alternate reality thing kind of going on where you can find secret puzzles and websites that lead you more into the story of the game? I've never seen that before, but let me know in the comments below if you've seen that. But again, if you like trading card games, if you like deck building games, I think this is a lot of fun. They're going to be continually adding new expansions, new starter decks, and more to the game. So I think it's worth checking out. If you want to pick up a copy of the game, there'll be links in the description below where you can do so. And if you guys like this video, be sure to smash that like button as it really helps out the channel. If you haven't done so yet, be sure to subscribe and turn on the bell notifications to get the latest updates of new nerd videos we put out. And if you'd like to help support the channel, pick out content and more, become a patron of ours at nerdproblemsgaming.com/Patreon. And if you'd like to plug into our live streams and Let's Plays we do on the channel, you can follow us on Twitch at nerdproblemsgaming.com/Twitch. But once again, thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you more soon.